Chomp.
Hi everybody and welcome back to UR Supreme Toys again. We've got our final figure from Wave 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimates from Super7, King Sphinx. This is the guy I've been anticipating the most for the first two waves besides Goldar. And as we can see, it's the same gold and yellow lightning effect packaging. He has his mug foiled on the front in this diamond with his name on the bottom. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers logo on the back. And I have been waiting for almost 2 years for this guy now. So, please Super7, do not have messed this guy up. Because if he breaks out of this box, I'm going to cry. Alright, King Sphinx. Here we go. Slip reveal. Okay. Is it me? Or are his colors off from the promo images that he was marketed with? I'm going to have to pull up some pictures to compare. This is him from the show. Looks pretty menacing. Got his bio here. The Egyptian-themed monster is a dangerous threat to the Power Rangers. After making short work of Zack and Kimberly, King Sphinx successfully isolates Jason, the Red Ranger, from the others. Locking Scepter with Sword, the two engage in fierce combat. Already a relentless brute on his own, he then teams with Goldar. The diabolical duo grow giant-sized, forming a nearly unstoppable force in a final showdown with the mighty Dino Megazord. Will the Power Rangers be able to stop King Sphinx? Or will they be in denial, should King Sphinx use his powerful wing blast to blow them away once and for all? Spoiler alert, they win. We're going to just open him up and take a look. Okay, King Sphinx, here we go. The paint apps are pretty decent on him. I don't see anything extremely out of place. There is this glue residue on his snake from where they glued him in. I guess they got glue smeared on it. That looks bad. He was kind of a dirty looking character, so the heavy wash kind of makes sense. Everything seems in line. He has some small dings and stuff here in the paint job. I guess during production he got slung around. His back is pretty bare bones. He's got a little Sphinx tush there. Yeah, I mean his tail's painted. Everything's painted decently. It's not an ugly looking paint job. That's for sure. He has his two wings detached in the box. The paint apps are very heavy on these. They definitely took their time and painted these wings appropriately. There are some paint dings here and there, but that's to be expected. The back of the wings are pretty cool. They have this red splash pattern on them. They just sort of like sprayed this red flecking paint all over them, and that looks really nice. That looks really nice. That's actually really nice. His staff isn't painted very well though. It's pretty just bland. I don't know, there's nothing special about it. It's about as basic as you can get. It is sturdy though. This is a sturdy plastic. You're not going to be worried about snapping or breaking this, I don't think. He has one extra head, a growling head, which all these monsters were static expressioned monsters. There may have been the occasional close-up where the mask would do something as far as snarl or talk, but for the most part during the action scenes and walking around scenes, the facial expressions were always static, so it was, you didn't really get alternate faces with these monsters. So this extra head is pretty nice. If you want a more growling look, I think it looks good. It's painted decently. There's nothing out of place. He comes with 6 extra hands. He has 2 closed fists attached to him in the box. He has these 2 really greatly sculpted monster hands where they're just like, ah, I'm gonna get you. He has a pair of vertical hinged gripping hands and a pair of horizontal hinged gripping hands. So let's see if we can attach his wings without these pegs breaking like they did with Goldar, because that killed me when that happened. So he has these peg holes on the back, so they should just pop right into place. And they do pop into place well. Okay, so no broken wings. I will say this though, he is kind of loose in that ab crunch, and the weight of his wings want to pull him back a little bit. The fact that he has a working ab crunch at all is amazing. You're going to be very top heavy because of those wings. Alright, now articulation. Let's take a look. His head is going to rotate a little bit. It's going to bobble a little bit. It's not going to do much looking up and down, which is to be expected. He has these nice little shoulder pauldrons. They are not attached to the shoulders. So, apparently the monster's arms are detachable as well. Was not expecting that. They come out very easily once they hit that pauldron. But his arms will go up about that far, and they will pop out. That is a problem. Gosh, why? Why make those arms pop out? There's no reason for his arms to pop out. Dang it, Super7. God. Alright, so they'll go that far, and then they'll pop out. They're on a swivel and hinge shoulder. He has a bicep cut, an elbow cut, and twist. The elbow is not going to go past the 90. And then he has his hinged and swivel wrists. Now, as mentioned, he does have a double ab crunch. He's got a waist bobble and an ab bobble, and it's very good. It goes very far and very far back, and he can get a lot of side to side, so you can get a lot of motion with this guy. The sculpt continues with the abs, so even if you bent him back, he's going to look aesthetically pleasing, which is a bonus. So that twists and swivels at both points, that's really good. The only issue I have is, like I said, it's really loose. It's not as tight as maybe it should be, and there's a point where it wants to catch on the back. Hips aren't going to be hindered by much because this is a soft rubber pliable piece. He is on a ball joint, a swivel and hinge ball joint with a thigh cut at the top. His legs can go up about that far back, which is nothing. And of course he has a swivel and hinged knee, which can go about 85 degrees, and then a rocker ankle, which actually hinges pretty good and rocks pretty good. His ankles are really tight too, so that's good. I'm glad his ankles are tight because he's already got issues with that top torso. There is a slight twist at the knee, but it's not going to do much because it's going to hit right here. He has a hinged and swiveled tail, which is pleasant. And of course his wings are on a hinge and they will twist. As you can see, I'm having issues getting him to stand just because his wings are so top heavy that they want to pull him back. Let's swap his heads and see how his heads swap out. His head comes off pretty easily. Got a nice big ball peg there. I still would be cautious as I don't like the way they designed this neck peg. It leads to a risk of bending this too much and breaking it. And it also makes it difficult to pop his head on as it wants to swing down. There you go. Head pops on pretty good. That profile looks pretty nice, extra gnarly. Swap his hands out. Oh shit. Damn. His hands are very tight. You're gonna probably need some heat to properly get those hands out. And I look at the pegs and they're ridiculously small. Like they could have made these bigger for this character and it would have been fine. Go ahead and swap out both hands. See how his staff fits in his hand. You may need heat. These are very tight. There's not a lot of ways to squeeze this past his fingers without heating it up. You might scratch the paint. But I am a glutton for punishment. I think things should work out of the box. Here he went. You do have to heat this hand up to get this staff in. It is not going to go in otherwise. Pop his hands in. Looks pretty good. So one thing I hate about these hands for these Rangers figures is it is a two-step peg. So once you hit that first lip, you've got to go down to that second lip to get it all the way in, and it can be a little annoying. See, if you go in the first way, it's going to be a little loose. So you have to fight it in to get it all the way in. A little bit tight. Alright. Yeah. King Sphinx. Looking sphinxy. Okay, my biggest gripe, as mentioned, is that loose chest bobble. I just can't stand that. You can get him in a position where he's going to be fine, but it does take a little bit of effort. He looks fantastic. I gotta say, this is really good. This is a really good figure. Other than some minor nitpicks, I have no complaints with this figure. I think he looks fantastic. It's nice that we finally have a half-decent King Sphinx. I know Lightning Collection did one, but the paint apps were so limited on those Lightning Collection monsters that I just could not pull the trigger. At least he's painted well, and he looks good. It's a nice sculpt. It's a nice paint job. Most of the joints are perfect and tight. Everything's okay except for that ab crunch. So let's bring in Goldar for comparison. We've got the duo here, and they look fantastic together. The two winged monsters. This Goldar definitely has his issues. Got to be cautious with his wings. Both of these guys are fantastic looking. I hope that Super7 continues to improve on their quality and that they release more monsters. I want the monsters more than anything. If you're wondering about scale, King Sphinx is right at 8 inches tall. Bring in the Red Ranger. You can see they easily dwarf him. We got Rita Repulsa. Make my monsters grow! She looks good with these guys. I gotta say, the villains definitely take the cake as far as these ultimates go. And the villains were the best part of the show. If you want monsters to fight the Zords still somewhat dwarf the monsters, but they do scale relatively well. This is the Tyrannosaurus Megazord. I actually have to move the camera so you can see these size discrepancies. And here's the Dragon Zord. Again, slightly bigger. I feel like they could have scaled them a little bit more together. These guys look fantastic. Despite the negatives and nitpicks I have about multiple figures in this line, at the end of the day, on your shelf, if you don't touch them and they stay there just how you put them, they're going to look fantastic. These are great action figures. They're huge. They're massive. There he goes. Anyway, this has been an unboxing and review of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimates Wave 2 King Sphinx from Super7, and I am UR Supreme Toys. Thank you so much for watching.